So let me set the scene for you first. A big high-ranking officer turns up at our gun position. We're firing the big artillery guns with barrels as big as your houses. We're lined up behind the guns as he comes to us. I get my gun crew to fall in at attention at the rear of the guns. I salute the general. I introduce my gun crew to him. He finishes. I salute him once more. He goes on to the next gun in the line, and I jump back on the gun and carry on with the fire mission. The general has got this horrible little dog. He spent many years biting us, this dog. And when we're stood at attention, we can't retaliate in any way, shape or form. So David, you know I'm a dog lover, and I've got 2 rescue dogs myself, but anyway, this is how it goes. Now, if I were to forget anything else in my army career, there's one thing that will always stick out in my mind till the day I die. My head was facing straight forward, but my eyes were looking over at Taft's gun crew. There appeared to be a lot of activity going on around his gun, and it was at this point he had to do a double take. I was sure I saw Ronnie Rowland pass the General's dog to Johnny Ashton, and I was positive Johnny Ashton had just fed it into the barrel of the gun. No, surely not. Taft was staring at the General as if he was keeping watch. The charge was placed into the barrel after the dog, and then I heard a distinctive loud clunk of the breech block dropping down and sealing it closed. I was absolutely sure I could hear the echo of a small dog whimpering inside Taft's gun barrel. Oh my God, I thought to myself. They were going to fire the General's dog down the damn range. Please, Taft, please don't do this. Don't do it, I silently prayed. The order came from the command post. Number 2, down safety. Number 2, fire! I watched, in what seemed like slow motion, Ken Browning pressing the firing button on the gun. There was an almighty bang from Taft. Normally, if you stand behind an artillery gun, you'll see the shell flying from the barrel, and you can see it for miles until it leaves sight. I did see the shell go, but I also witnessed bits of light fluff fling off to the left and right, and then to the centre, and float to the ground. I'd never seen this before. I was in shock as the GRA threw up another salute in my direction. I hadn't even realised it, but I'd saluted him back, and he was now making his way towards the next crew. I jumped back onto the gun and looked over at Taft. His gun crew were falling about laughing. Taft didn't even look fazed, but he wasn't laughing like the rest of his crew. The dog had gone. It was no more. Oh my God, I was trembling as the GRA finished meeting all the gun bunnies and had started to make his way over to the command post. I could see him looking round for the dog. We had finished the display for the officers and expended the ammunition. There was no more ammo left to fire. I raced over to Taft. Taft, what the hell have you done? I asked him. Did you not hear me shout? He answered. No, what happened? That horrible little thing bit right through my boot and into my ankle and drew blood. I just saw red and thought it's your bleeding turn, son. How about you see red then, when you're flying down the barrel of a gun? He'd instructed his crew to throw the dog up the barrel as it had just bought a one-way ticket to oblivion. That was it. End of mission. Arrows in the head, brown bread, dead. The young officers didn't even have a go on the guns. We'd used all the ammo while meeting the GRA, but they didn't mind. They were young lads, and they'd have ample time in their careers to fire the big bangs. They'd enjoyed the guns and commented on how professional we were. Christ, if they'd been at the other end of the line watching Taft making hot dogs, I wonder if they'd have offered the same compliments. I was trembling because I knew what was coming next. I also knew how much this man loved this dog and what would happen to Taft if he found out where the dog was now. I couldn't believe that Taft had done this right under the GRA's nose. I always knew Taft to be mad, but not this mad. The GRA had 103 men searching for hours for the dog, but it was nowhere to be found.
Why did you write this book, Sean?
It was the brainchild of my wife and you. That was the reason. My wife was sick of hearing my army stories, and it appeared that you were a little bit interested in the army and the military and some of the things we got up to, so it seemed the perfect opportunity and the perfect time to write it.
Tell me what the book's about.
It's an account of my army career, all condensed into one book, which was a 6-month period. We carried out an operational tour of Belize.
Where's Belize?
It's in Central America. We were looking at the borders of Guatemala while we were there on the operational tour.
Why were you there?
We were there to stop the Guatemalans coming into Belize. They'd caused a lot of problems in the months previous, so we were there to supposedly stop them.
Did you?
We'd like to think so, but we're sure that there were a few that crossed the border without our knowledge, should we say.
Did you shoot at any?
I didn't shoot at them. I caused a lot of problems shooting other things and other live things, but of which you can read about in the book.
What's the tone of the book, though?
The tone is humour. It's not comedy. It's not full-blown comedy. It's humour, and there's a lot of shock factor in there as well. So the stories that you're not going to believe that were actually true. The book is aimed at all adults, not just for squaddies. I've had an unlikely audience of females are enjoying it, thoroughly enjoying it. I'm having people from all walks of life, people from countries that I would never have guessed have bought, from Denmark, France, Spain, Italy, all over the world. Loads of Americans have bought it. It's really, really doing well in places that I never thought it would do.
So, if you had to describe it in a few words, what kind of book is it?
I think the best way to describe it would be like Club 1830 with guns. Like the old MASH film. If you think of that, then you've got British Army on the Rampage.